No. No. Oh, jeez, no. I don't want to review any of these yet. How'd the Indians do last night? Oh, they won. Hello, what's this? Well. Let's see just how good of a comic strip you are. Hello and welcome to The Punchline. I'm your comic strip critic. And yes, it's true. There are comics in the newspaper which don't always run on the comics pages. The most well-known example would probably be Doonesbury, which sometimes run in the newspaper's editorial or commentary section, but there's at least one out there that seems tailor-made to go right into the wide world of sports, and that's what we're looking at today. This is In the Bleachers. This single-panel strip was created in 1985 by Steve Moore and is syndicated by Universal Press Syndicate. There are no characters, no plot, no storylines, and no rules whatsoever. The only consistency is that In the Bleachers always revolves around sports in some aspect. And that's really all I can say. There's not a whole lot of information about this. It's not a very well-known strip. But let's wind back the clock and take a look at In the Bleachers 2012. All game long, he's talking trash and disrespecting me, so I ate him. Velociraptor versus chicken basketball. This would be the wildest and craziest sport in the world. Better than football, better than basketball, better than wrestling, better than Calvin ball, maybe not. It would probably be the most one-sided sport though. Usually with older players, the legs are the first thing to go. But in rare cases, it's the hair, ears, and nose. Oh, jeez. It's just like last week's crankshaft mess all over again. While a very horrifying image if you focus on it for too long, this is a funny strip. Wait, is strip even the right word for this if it's only got one panel? Whatever, it works. The artwork for In the Bleachers is kind of sketchy and ugly, but it's done in a way that works to the strip's advantage. The character designs are cartoonishly grotesque, with these skinny chests resting atop massive piles of gut and leg. The eyes are either these unassuming little lines or eyes spread way too far apart to look normal. These aren't humans so much as they are parodies of humans, which makes it a lot easier to laugh at them when unfortunate situations befall them. And boy, does that happen a lot. Case in point, this is like if a Wile E. Coyote cartoon was sent out during the sketch phase, and set in the snow. And that sounds awesome. Actually, speaking of Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, there's a lot of animals that appear in Into the Bleachers, usually anthropomorphizing them so that animals are playing sports as though they were humans. And it's usually pretty cleverly done. Take this one for instance. Pretty ugly art, not a single word of dialogue, only one panel, and it's still about 1,000 times more clever and funny than any BC or Wizard of Id that you'll ever read. And when I said there are no rules, I mean it. Look at this! What is that thing there? Godzilla's ugly daughter? And why do I care? The answer is, I don't. If it's funny enough, and it follows the context of the setting that you've established, you can be as random as you want. And since In the Bleachers has no rules whatsoever, random away, Mr. Moore. Sorry kids, when we win, we go out for ice cream. When we lose, we come here. Now that is how you motivate a team. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. If you're confined to the bench long enough, you begin to sympathize with your coach. And I think the same idea can be applied to the pointy-eared boss from Dilbert, too. You know, I have to admit, as much as I'm enjoying reading this strip, it's kind of hard for me to review. Having no characters means that Scott Moore can introduce new people or animals whenever he wants to, but it also means that there are no bad or out-of-character moments to nitpick over. The same basic idea applies to the setting, too. There's no storylines in this strip, nor do there need to be, so there's no plot holes that I can poke through and make fun of. This is a comic strip with a very simple premise and idea. look at the wide and weird and wacky world of sports and make it funny. And that's about it. What to talk about? What to talk about? Help me, Wikipedia. You're my only hope. Okay. Let's see. In 2006, the animated movie Open Season was created based off the hunting strips from In the Bleachers. Really? I saw that movie. It was okay, I guess. Nothing special. I guess that's what you get when you try and make an hour and a half of a movie from 8 seconds at max worth of material. A much better adaptation of In the Bleachers could be found on ESPN about a decade ago, when a number of animated cartoon shorts were created for the station to run. They're hard to find nowadays. I could only find a couple on YouTube, but they're still pretty decent. Here, take a look.
Brace yourself, ma'am. It's not a pretty sight.
Yes! Yes, it's my husband! That's his tattoo!
You see? It still keeps the odd nature of the strip and it makes it really quick. That's how you do an adaptation. Not making a full-length feature film like, oh, your day of reckoning is coming. I demand a trade. I'm sick of sitting on the bench of a perennial doormat. I want to sit on the bench of a contender. Hey, you know what? Everybody's got to have a dream. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. I wanted to include this particular strip for a very specific reason. It made me laugh. Not a little smile to myself or a soft chuckle, but an honest-to-God, unrestrained laugh. Do you know how rare that is? That's only the second time this year that the comics have been able to do that to me, and that fact alone cements In the Bleachers as a must-read strip as far as I'm concerned. If it's in your local sports section or comics pages, give it a look. It's far more entertaining and funny than most of the other comics I've read recently. In the Bleachers, making the sports section just a little funnier every day. I'm your comic strip critic, and I read the funny pages and hope that someday they will all be this funny.